If you've done anything remotely nice for yourself today, like ignoring an email, a text, or cracking open a second block of chocolate, or even celebrating Tipsy Thursday with your friends here at McKnight tonight in our little community, well, you're already doing it right. So grab your drink, take a sip, and enjoy Tipsy Thursday here at McKnight tonight. Thanks for your company. Before I go on, I want to be genuine for a moment because I really want to acknowledge the kindness being shown to myself and my family as we stream these shows every week. This week, Anthony G, Imran Abdullah and Radio Notes Pod have all bought us a coffee. And other people have taken out memberships on the YouTube page. So if you go to YouTube, you can literally just hit membership and if it takes your fancy, take out a tier. And if you all heard my rant about Alan's changing the flavour of orange snakes from my much loved apricot to passion fruit, which we hate, or I hate, you'll know how much I appreciated finding this in the post from Jeanette. You all know Jeanette. She comments every night and every week. She said, I've got a pack, Rob. I'll send them to you. And I went, oh, that's very kind, Jeanette. And yep, it's the original apricot. But it wasn't just that. There was another packet. And there was an even bigger packet. Look at that. And there was an even bigger packet. So, Jeanette, that should keep me sorted for a week. Jeanette, that is very, very kind. Thank you so much. And there was also a lovely card, which I have misplaced. I'll show that to you a little later. Maybe when we do random live shot of the day, if I can find it. And then, oh, I'm going to duck out a shot. It fell down, Jeanette, sorry. So a lovely Mickey Mouse card because she knows I used to work at Disney. Some lovely messages inside. Jeanette, we love this. It meant the world. Thank you so much. That is just staying as part of the set where we can see it when we're doing the show. It's just down there. Thank you very much for that. That is gold. I cannot tell you, when the box turned up and I saw your name, I was like, oh, it's a bit bigger than a packet of one packet of snakes. That is amazing. Thank you for that. Not necessary, but it is appreciated. All right. Coming up tonight, I'll be joined by not one but two legends of Australian television. Ita Buttrose, the iconic media trailblazer. Well, she's here and she's opening up about a cause very close to her heart. I'm talking about dementia, but there's a reason, because there is new hope that we can delay the effects of dementia on people. So that's going to be very interesting. Then Scott Cam from The Block joins us ahead of the show's return, so that'll be a fun chat as well. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below or join the conversation on Facebook, but in the video section on YouTube and Facebook, leave a comment there. We'll get to it later in the show. And don't forget, the best place to watch the show is on YouTube, as I mentioned. Just go to youtube.com/@McKnight Every view, like and sub helps us keep going, and you, the McKnight Tonight Army, can help us spread the word. Tell your friends, share it on your socials, help us out, and you're doing a great job. Now, I reckon we should get into tonight's hot topics. And what do you make of this? Last night, Queensland Senator Corinne Mulholland was joined by her infant son for her maiden speech to Parliament.
I rise tonight incredibly humbled to be a senator for the great state of Queensland. I am a proud fourth-generation Queenslander. We are battlers, people who work hard, speak straight, and don't ask for more than a fair go. I stand here tonight holding my young son, as you can see, with his bedtime fast approaching. I am praying that Augie and I make it through this speech unscathed, so Godspeed. Augie is here not as a symbol, but as a powerful reminder of why I am here. I am a wife and a mum from the outer suburbs of Queensland. I come to this place to fight for other Queensland families. Mums and dads fundamentally belong in this chamber, not in theory, but in the full lived reality of working parents.
Give me a break, please. I was watching the Today Show this morning and they were like, oh, baby steals the show, cute, cute, cute moment. No, it's not. This is a place of business. This is a place of work, and a baby has no place being there. Now, I know it's a stunt. I know it's a way of grabbing media attention, and I am falling for it. I am talking about it here. But this is privileged activism. She's saying, oh, I'm a mum, look at me, I've got my baby. The baby is distracting. If we have a look at that footage again, she's there, and as she's speaking, the baby's waving to the lady behind, the MP behind her, and she's waving, and while they've all got smiles, could you imagine trying to deal with this on a daily basis, which I know she won't be doing, and I know she's making the point during her maiden speech, but did anyone hear what she's saying? They're all looking at the baby, and they're all getting distracted. The baby's making noise. And it's just not appropriate for the place where the laws of our country are designed. And I know the hate that's going to come my way. You're anti-woman. This is empowering, blah, blah, blah. You know what? Women can breastfeed wherever they like. To me, that's a different story. But this is a place of work where the baby has no place being there. Can you imagine the checkout lady at Coles or Woolworths trying to do the scan your items, and they've got their baby there? You wouldn't accept it. It wouldn't be accepted. So why is it accepted here? I can't think of most places of work, there's probably some arty-farty advertising places, but I can't think of any place of work where you'd be allowed to take your baby, unless you're putting them into daycare at the office. There's a daycare section. Fine, no dramas. But this is just BS. This is just trying to be hip, cool, and talk about empowering mums, when most mums who have a baby and are trying to work are trying to juggle and deal with the ongoing daycare issues and childcare issues that are happening in this country, where I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole at the moment. But this is just pure theatre, and it's just not necessary. And I have no place for it in our Senate or our politics, where we are making the rules of the land. Now, I know that it's maiden speeches. It is a little bit different. But what's next? Every politician can bring props in? Well, you're not allowed to bring props in to the Senate. That's my understanding. I think I'm right on that one. So as far as I'm concerned, this baby is a prop, and she should have been sent out of the Senate. Yeah, I know that it's an extreme view, but it just does my head in. When I was running Studio 10, I had a rule that if we were interviewing someone, they couldn't bring their kids on the show. You know why? They never behave. They're always distracting. Unless you realise that on that segment, it can all go to crap. And if it was a fun, light segment, you'd go with it. But if you were talking about a child with a serious disease or something like that, and I know your first thought is have the child with you, but you can tell that story in video and overlay and pictures. But the moment you've got them on there and they're looking at the monitor and they're distracted by all the lights, you're not paying attention to what's going on. I have no idea what she said. But she got a headline. So good on her, but I think it's ridiculous. Here comes McKnight tonight. All right, let me know your thoughts by leaving a comment in the comment section of this video. We'll get to your feedback soon. Have I gone too far? I'll be interested if any of you disagree with me. All right. As we age, most of us would have some fear about getting dementia, but it turns out the disease is not inevitable. Professor Henry Broderty shared his insights yesterday during an address at the National Press Club.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a program that can delay the onset of dementia, possibly by a year or more. It's cost effective. For every year we can delay the onset, we reduce the numbers of people by 10%. Remember, $3.7 billion in direct costs? Reduction by 10%, $370 million saved.
Ita Buttrose was at the event yesterday in Canberra, and she's been an advocate on the issue for years. Ita, welcome to McKnight Tonight.
Thank you very much, Rob.
Okay, what was the main takeaway from yesterday?
Well, Henry Broderty is a co-director of the Centre for Healthy Brain Ageing here in Sydney, and he did an online questionnaire, I suppose, with 6,000 people, and they participated in in a program in which they were educated, in which they were motivated, and in which their brain was activated. And the research showed that cognitive behavior can be modified if people change their own behavior, their lifestyle behavior. So for instance, you watch what you eat, you make sure your brain is activated, and they did all these things, and it's called Maintain Your Brain, and they showed that there was significant downfall in cases in people that had undertaken this research. So what it shows us is that by changing their own behavior, people can delay the onset of dementia.
What kind of changes do we need to do, Ita?
Well, you've got to do physical exercise. You've got to challenge your brain. These are basic things that I've been talking about for years. But now we've got proof. Now we've got the proof in this significant online research of 6,000 people, the biggest online research we think ever done. And there are risk factors. So there's cholesterol, there's blood pressure, there's obesity, there's diabetes. So if you have any of these things, you're at risk, a higher risk. And so you need to take care of your health, and you need to bond with your doctor.
Look, you have been an advocate for Alzheimer's awareness for many, many years, decades, in fact. Why has this been such an important issue for you?
Well, because my father had vascular dementia, which is the second most common dementia after Alzheimer's. And vascular dementia can be changed by your behavior, because it's heart linked, it's vascular. So heart. So what's good for your brain is good for your heart, or what's good for your heart is good for your brain. So Dad had vascular dementia, and I watched him decline, and it's traumatic watching someone you love decline. And I would go over to see him, and I'd say, "How are you today, Dad?" And he said, "Well, if you must know, I'm feeling depressed." And you think, "Oh, Dad, I can't do anything to help you." And it was really hard work. But he did stay in his own home, which he wanted to do. I don't know how we did it. I don't know how my brothers and I did it, but we did it. And, sometimes I'd go over and Dad would say things like, "Oh, the people last night, they were making such a noise." So I went out and I gave them Watto. And I thought, my God, I hope he didn't. But no one ever complained about him, so I suspect he didn't.
Now, you and I could catch up occasionally. I've been to your house. You live by yourself and you're very self-sufficient. Is this because you've learnt the lessons of prevention and still being able to have independence as you get older? I'm sorry to use the O word.
That's quite all right. I don't mind being older. I just mind being elderly.
Yes, that's the one. That's the one.
Older is fine. Elderly is not. No, look, I live alone, as you said, but I'm busy and my brain is constantly challenged. I've just written a book, which is being published in October, and that's quite a challenge to write a book. And so I'm always doing something. I'm learning something. I've been learning. I'm chair of the advisory group at the Centre for Healthy Brain Aging. So I'm always learning things about the brain. And I do think the brain is the last great medical frontier. So if we can conquer the brain and all that it means to all of us, then I think we will know the answer to many of the riddles that we haven't been able to successfully treat.
Well, I've always said people half your age would have trouble keeping up with you, but have you felt the effects of aging?
What do you mean, Rob?
Well, I mean, I'm 52 and I feel the effects of aging. Are there things you notice? I mean, you walk your dog, you do all these things. You basically practice what you preach. So even with doing all that, are you feeling the effects of aging, or are you holding it off?
Well, I think you slow down. You can't, but you just sort of slow down, or you sort of think, Well, it doesn't really matter if I don't do that today, I can do it tomorrow. You're
Yeah.
not in such a hurry. And you're calmer because you understand people so much better as you get older. So I don't know whether but I do exercise. I do exercise 3 times a week. I don't walk the dog any longer because I don't have a dog. She died of cancer. But I
Oh,
do.
that's right. Sorry, for some
Yeah.
reason, I thought you replaced Cleo. I should have known better.
No, you can't replace that dog. She was a
No.
one-off.
Yeah.
No, I don't walk the dog anymore, but I do exercise, and I do believe physical exercise is the key to everything. And my uncle turns 102 next
Goodness
month.
me.
Yes, when he still exercises, he still goes for a walk every morning. He is fantastic. So he thinks physical exercise is the key too. And you have to do some sort of physical exercise. Your body needs to be used, and your brain loves physical exercise.
Yes, Amanda, I am listening to what Ita is saying. Amanda's looking at me. She keeps telling me I've got to do the exercise, Ita, and I'm paying attention. And she'll be like, "Oh, you don't listen to me, but when Ita Buttrose says it, you'll listen."
Well, I hope you do.
Well, I've got to stick around for a bit to have another steak meal with you. Funding, though, importantly, funding. One of the things the professor said yesterday is funding is important. The research is happening. This is something people fear when they get older, Ita, but I took away from this speech that we don't have the funds we need to continue the research.
Well, everybody's knocking on the government's door for money, and Henry recognises that and mentioned it yesterday. But dementia costs the economy so much money in lost days that if it would be money well spent. So what I think we need is a dementia awareness program, because the CEO of Dementia Australia was at the lunch yesterday, and she said their research tells them that people don't know enough about dementia. Now you think, God, they reckon most people now know someone with dementia, but they still don't know enough about the disease. So I think we need a major awareness program of dementia, that it's not a normal part of aging, that, there are things you can do and things you can't do and things you should do. And, just to say to people, now be aware of dementia. It's not the end of your life. It may change your life, but you can still live a very fulfilled life, even if you have dementia. And everybody's dementia is different. I mean, there's no one size fits all, because everybody's different. So what happened to my father wouldn't necessarily be the same as what happened to somebody else whose father had vascular dementia. Dad's dementia was his own.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting what you said there. Dementia is not a part of aging. That's fascinating.
No,
Ita?
not a normal part of aging at all.
Yeah. Well, Ita Buttrose, I hope this won't be the last time you join us on McKnight tonight. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Pleasure, Rob.
Yeah, she's an amazing woman, isn't she? I love Ita, and I appreciate her coming on the show. We will have to get her back when she's got a book coming out soon, so we'll have to have a little chat. All right, moving on. And former US President Barack Obama is back in the headlines for all the wrong reasons. Take a look at this clip.
The witch hunt that you should be talking about is they caught President Obama absolutely cold, Tulsi Gabbard. What they did to this country in 2016, starting in 2016, but going up to 2020 in the election. They tried to rig the election, and they got caught. And there should be very severe consequences for that. But it's time to start, after what they did to me, and whether it's right or wrong, it's time to go after people. Obama's been caught directly, and Biden was there with him, and Comey was there, and Clapper, the whole group was there. Brennan, they were all there in a room. But the leader of the gang was President Obama, Barack Hussein Obama. Have you heard of him? This was treason. This was every word you can think of. They tried to steal the election. They tried to obfuscate the election. And it's the most unbelievable thing I think I've ever read. So you ought to take a look at that and stop talking about nonsense, because this is big stuff.
No, wrong clip. I'm not talking about that BS, Obama, treason, whatever. No. Amanda, I'm talking about the other Obama clip. In my mind, the more controversial one. Take a look.
In my opinion, and this is controversial in my family, you should not eat ketchup after the age of 8.
What? What is he talking about? Now, I have watched that clip, and the full clip. You don't have to. And he gets challenged on it, but he's got no real reason for why he thinks this. I guess he thinks ketchup, and I put ketchup in the super there, but we are obviously talking about tomato sauce here in Australia, but he used the term ketchup. I don't understand why he thinks it's a kid's meal. Now, there are some rules when it comes to tomato sauce. On chips is fine. On hot dog, in that clip he says, I hate it when people put it on a hot dog. I assume he's a mustard man. I'm a very plain eater. I only have tomato sauce on a hot dog and maybe a buttered bun if I can get it. Love, love, love it. But talk about, he's not on the same planet as us, is he? I'll tell you what I think is a no-no. You never put tomato sauce on a steak. In fact, I don't think you should put any sauce, not your mushroom sauce, not anything. No sauce on a steak, because the steak you've got to eat medium rare and you've got to eat it the way it is. Bit of salt, fine. But the taste of the steak should be magnificent. You don't need anything else. You don't need garlic cream or anything like that. Just the steak. But the idea, so no tomato sauce. And, I'm not taking any feedback on that. Of course I will. I will take the feedback. In fact, it says there, leave it in the comment section of this video and we'll get to your feedback shortly. But this idea that you shouldn't eat it past 8, I don't understand that at all. Now, one thing, I'll cause another debate when it comes to tomato sauce. When you first buy it, it goes in the cupboard. Once you've opened it, it goes in the fridge. Now, people will say there's a whole debate about what does and doesn't go in the fridge. And I'm a Vegemite man, stays in the cupboard the whole time, even once you've opened it. But people say, hang on, if you buy it on the shelf, it stays on the shelf. Sorry, bit of a frog in the throat, better have a drink. What an excuse. They say, if you buy it on the shelf, it stays on the shelf. Okay, so you buy a tin pineapple, you open it up, you're going to leave it on the shelf, are you? No, ridiculous rule. Anyone who says that, you're out, you've lost the argument. So, couple of rules. You can eat tomato sauce for your whole life, President Obama. You cannot put it on steak. And once you've opened it, it goes in the fridge. Do we understand each other? Thank you. I'm Rob McKnight. This is McKnight Tonight.
It's the red light shot of the day. Where are you going today? You never know where you'll end up with the red light shot of the day.
And let's take a moment now for our random live shot of the day. There it is, the famous Abbey Road crossing in London. Immortalised by the Beatles in 1969, it's become a pilgrimage site for music fans, selfie takers and confused drivers alike. And yes, look at those poor locals who have to put up with those tourists trying to recreate the famous album cover, usually without looking for the cars around. It's not just a pedestrian crossing, of course, it's a piece of pop culture history. Protected, did you know this? It is protected by the UK government and is now even monitored 24/7 by a dedicated live cam. There it is. It's a mostly cloudy day in London with a top of 21 degrees and a low of 18. Typical British weather, but that's never stopped the Beatles fans. What a great day in... Well, it's not a great day. It's a cloudy day and it looks a bit foggy, but look at all those people there. Oh, hang on. What's going on here? Looks like these people are a bit tense. Oh, some singing and dancing over here. Oh, having an umbrella fight. But these two, they don't look happy, do they? They're off. They've had enough of Abbey Road. Now, look, well, can we just take a moment? I need to have one of these orange snakes. I've got to do it. Where is it? Don't tell me there's no orange ones in here. Here we go. Oh. Now, I've got to be honest, I never knew the orange snakes were apricot originally. Is it passion fruit they've become? Passion fruit. I've got no time for the passion fruit, but Jeanette, you've made an old man very happy. Amanda, I'm getting there. Don't let me talk while my mouth is full. How rude she is. All right, let's take a look at some feedback coming through to McKnight tonight. Happy Thursday. Happy Tipsy Thursday, everyone. Own Your Own Crazy. That was from Justine. No, that wasn't from Justine. Yes, it was. Was it? Who was it from? Sorry. Jasmine's not here and I'm having to do it. Own Your Own Crazy says, forget the wine, sugar rush. Absolutely. This was in relation to the baby in Parliament. Matthew says, I'm with you, Rob. Dylan says, might have also had the babysitter cancel at the last minute. I don't think so, Dylan. This was a planned stunt. Don't you worry about that. Own Your Own Crazy says, and yet there were sausage dogs and a need for a proper pooper scooper. Own Your Own Crazy is talking about the fact that I had dogs on Studio 10. I wouldn't have kids, but I had animals. And yes, though, Own Your Own Crazy, when we had the animals on and the sausage dog race, the best thing we ever did on Studio 10, that was just good TV, and I stand by that. All right, over the page we go, and we've got, oh no, I haven't gone to the next one, hang on. Another one. Peter, I agree with you, Rob, and that is in regards to the babies in Parliament. And when we're talking about liking the show, Matthew Braun says, don't forget to click like, everyone. Good advice. Jeanette, the snake giver, says, my mum has started to have dementia. It's hard. When she was so active, she is 94 years old. Well, fabulous that she's 94, Jeanette, and you still get to spend time with her, so that's a good one. Own Your Own Crazy says, my step-grandfather passed with Alzheimer's. He was a World War II prisoner of war and was able to care for himself towards the end of his life. That's really sad. Thank you for sharing that. Philip says, Ita is a national icon. Anthony G says, I'm almost 50 and I still eat ketchup. Own Your Own Crazy says, Obama has never eaten a meat pie. Perhaps it's the way he was raised. Anthony G says, bacon and egg roll with tomato sauce. Oh, I've got to be honest, I don't have the egg. I do eat a bacon and egg roll, but I prefer a bacon roll with sauce and a sausage. When you get a sausage sizzle at Bunnings, you've got to have the tomato sauce. So, of course, you've got to do. Dylan says, only add sauce if the food tastes bad. Vicky says, are we on MasterChef? Didn't you complain last night there was too much politics? Vicky. Tracy says, I used to love ketchup as a kid, but it makes me nauseous now. I'm with Obama on this. Thank you for your feedback. Keep it coming. We've got more topics to discuss right here on McKnight Tonight.
Here comes McKnight Tonight.
All right, I'll get to more of your feedback shortly, so keep it coming in. We need some at the back end of the show as well. Meanwhile, a brand new season of Channel 9's very successful show, The Block, returns to our screens this Sunday night, and things are set to be very different this year. To tell us more, I had a chat with host Scott Cam this morning, and interestingly, it was right before we found out Adrian Patelli, the billionaire who buys up all the properties on the block, it was right before, minutes before we finished this interview, minutes before it was announced, Adrian Patelli was joining Channel 7 to take part in a new renovation series. So sorry, we won't be covering that. Scott, welcome to McKnight Tonight.
Hello, Rob. How are you, buddy? Thank you for having me. I'm really looking forward to Sunday night to see the new show because we've really gone back to grassroots this year and I'm excited to show everybody at home, the old-fashioned block.
Well, you love this show, don't you? You're very protective of it.
I am, and if we probably had a little bit of a hiccup last year, and which I addressed those issues, and we've gone back to grassroots. And you're right, I love this show, and it's part of my life. I've been doing it for so long, and I used to do a lot of other shows back in the day, but this has really become my everything for me. And I love getting back to the team that we have. We've been together for many years, the camera crew, production crew, and we meet for 3 months every year. And it's just one of those great things in television that you don't get that often.
Well, it's interesting because I was at a media event, can't even remember which city it was in, I've got to be honest, a few years ago. And it was one where I think it was the first time contestants had left really early. And you were so upset because you felt so many people want to get on this show, and you really just felt it was rude to those people that didn't get the call up when people get on and they choose to leave early.
Well, that's right, Rob. We're at on about the 50th floor of a Gold Coast hotel when you saw those comments from me.
That's where it was.
At a brunch to the Gold Coast. And look, yes, I was upset. And I made some comments that really hit the press, which was, it was un-Australian and it was poor behaviour. And it is a blight on the people the 40,000 people that applied. They got the opportunity and then they just scarpered in the middle of the night because it wasn't for them. And I was upset about it. And, more so to the fact that there was a lack of courtesy there. They didn't even say goodbye.
Yeah.
They just disappeared. And that's what my problem was, that you got to man up a bit. They probably weren't right for the block in the end, because you got to man up a bit and just come in and shake hands and go, look, mate, I don't think we can, this is for us. I don't think we can do it.
Yeah.
And I would have said, all right, look, no worries. Thanks for being honest. And let's try and work around this. But that's why I was also upset about that. And I don't like my show to be disrupted like that, because we really had to scramble to get another couple who then had to drop everything. Even though they loved it, they had to drop everything and come.
Yeah, well, they were very pleased for the opportunity, but I think that shows your passion for the show. But I keep hearing there's a lot less drama this year. Is that going to be a good or a bad thing for the show?
Well, when I say there's a lot less drama, it's just more, we've got contestants this year that are resilient, they're hardworking, they're competitive. And so it's a lot more family friendly because I said to them, the casting people, I said, we want resilience, but we also want less nasty, and we want competitive and hardworking. So that's what we got. So mum, dad and 3 kids can sit down and watch our show. We've got back to grassroots of renovating and design. And now, but having said that, they are a punish at times, the contestants. There's a lot of tears. There's a lot of blow-ups. There's a lot of roller coaster in the block. So, don't worry. There's some drama in there, and it'll be compelling viewing for the folks at home. But there's going to be some great design ideas for everybody to see. So it's good old-fashioned block, what I reckon.
Yeah. Well, it's very different this year too, in that they've all got the same floor plans. It's a brand new build. How has that changed the competition?
Well, it's made it challenging for our contestants because they've got to bring their A game when it comes to design, when it comes to wow factor, when it comes to execution of their construction. If it's not spot on, because your neighbour's room is exactly the same size and configuration, if it's not spot on and it doesn't wow the judges, they can just go next door to have a look at that one. So it really creates a challenge for our teams to stand out from the pack. And what that develops is that the teams are coming up with secret weapons. So one team in the first couple of weeks, or the first week, I think, approaches us and says, we want to do this, which is a secret weapon, and we don't want anyone to know about it because we need to stand out on auction day. And then a few weeks down the track, someone got wind of this well-hidden secret, and they said, we want to do this secret weapon. We want to do our own secret. And then someone got wind of that. All of a sudden, everybody's doing a secret weapon by about week 8. So it was really terrific to see that organically evolve throughout the series. And the secret weapons, let me tell you, are incredible.
Okay. I'm intrigued. You've obviously been doing the hustings. I heard you on the Today Show this morning. Did I hear this right? You've spent $8 million, or the team, the show has spent $8 million in the town. If that's true, that's an astonishing figure.
Yes, and you know what, Rob, we do that every year, around that figure, but we just thought we'd put pen to paper and work it out, because we're in a regional town and we want to, express to other towns or future towns or Dalesford itself what we bring to the town. And that was an $8 million spend, because we've got, say, 100 people renting homes. We rent about 60 houses. Every single member of our team gets a per diem. And for those folks that don't know what that is, it's a living away from home allowance. And that is to be spent for breakfast, lunch and dinner, and obviously a couple of beers at times. So all that money goes back into the economy of the town. And we also create great tourism vision for the viewers at home.
True.
We showcase the town, the restaurants, the day spas, the vineyards, the wineries, all that sort of thing. We showcase all of that throughout the whole series. And we feel as though we bring a lot to a town when we move in. And we're not like normal tradesmen. We tidy up after ourselves. We make sure everything is $1 million when we leave as well. Yeah. And you know what? The town loved us. They pulled me up in the street all the time and said, "We love having you here. It's so exciting." We only had a few complaints from the last time we tried to go to Dalesford, and the rest of the town were horrified. And that goes to show
always the way. There's always a few, mate.
There was just 3 or 4 people that didn't want it. They formed a little group. But it goes to show you what we can do to a town. $8 million spend in 3 months is quite amazing.
It really is. There's a lot of towns out there in regional Australia that are dying. So maybe you should go really regional next year and revitalise a town and showcase it to Australia and the world. Yes.
Well, and Rob, we spent a lot of money doing up the cinema, which was closed.
Right.
It's a functioning cinema again. What we did was they had an idea to create a shopping precinct on the ground floor of the cinema. It's one of those big old country cinemas.
Yeah.
So that got ripped out, and the dress circle up the top, we created a 70 or 80 seat cinema up there that we built all the tiered levels and the screen and all that sort of thing. And then we built a bar and a food little cafe and some lounge areas. And so that's what they wanted. They wanted an 80-seat cinema, because that's all that goes to the movies in a small country town. And that's what we built for them. Great. And they absolutely loved it, And we had these matriarchs, these 3 women who are like the leaders of the town and the Chamber of Commerce, self-appointed, but they are the leaders. And they came and they judged it actually, and they absolutely loved it. And then that night we had an opening night with a movie on. And it was
fantastic.
Yeah.
Should have premiered the block on the cinema screen. Hey,
yes.
Let me ask you, we've talked about changes, but one of the other changes that is out of your control is that billionaire Adrian Patelli says he isn't going to bid on the properties this year. Is that a good thing?
Well, look, we had a bit of a mutual agreement. He said he might not be coming back. We said, look, we don't mind. We think that's a good thing if you don't come back, because it opens it up to mums and dads who might want to buy a holiday house, which the block was designed for in the first place. But of course, it's a public auction. And if Adrian wants to come back, he's more than welcome, because we love Adrian. He's been terrific to our show. He's been, he's been amazing for us. But if he doesn't want to come back, well, that's fine for us as well, because we've got certainly lots of people. We've got the buyers advocates like Frank Valentic and Nicole Jacobs that come every year and get, a little bit blown out of the water by Adrian, which is fine again. But it gives someone else an opportunity to buy a family home that for their family, their grandkids, or what have you. So, look, either way, for us, we like Adrian, but we're happy if he doesn't come, but we're happy if he does come.
Sure, gotcha. Well, the 21st season of The Block launches this Sunday at 7 p.m, or 7 o'clock, as they say, on 9 and 9 Now. Scott, Cam, thanks for joining us on McKnight Tonight.
Good on you, buddy. Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's been an interesting day today with Adrian Patelli actually announcing that he's joining Channel 7 in a new renovation show. I'm thinking for the next Media McKnight of doing the best and worst TV presenters in Australia. And that could be quite controversial and get me into a lot of trouble. The ones who are on the good list, on the best, won't mind. But the ones on the worst, they won't be happy. Anyway, thinking about it. I'll let you know on Tuesday if I follow through. All right, let's go to some final feedback for tonight. Dylan says, what red do you have tonight, Rob? Thank you for asking, Dylan. It's a nice little Shiraz. You know what? We were on the Cat's Ab for a bit, and now we've gone to a bit of Shiraz, haven't we, Amanda? We're sort of enjoying the Shiraz at the moment. I'm not allowed to drink on air, though. I'll have one little bit. All right, over the page we go, and Dylan says, all we were missing was Rob's famous British accent on that red. I didn't even think about it when we were showing. Amanda, do we still have Abbey Road there that we could put into the monitor? I'm really throwing her a curveball now. There she goes. Sorry, I meant into the big screen, but that's all right. That's still live. It's live at Abbey Road. No, I need to do an English, not Scottish. My accents are all terrible. I can't think of an English. Oh, guy, no, that's Scottish. Amanda, can you say something British to me? English? Would you like? No, that's Irish. Your accents are worse than mine. I'm trying to think Cockney right now, but I can't. Anyway, we'll move on. Matthew says, did you know the red ones were tomato sauce flavoured? Matthew is talking about the red snakes. I think you're making that up. It doesn't say tomato sauce flavoured. They're apparently strawberry. But I like it. Very clever. All right, over the page we go. Oh, Jasmine McKnight has sent one in. Gosh, you need me back, don't you? See what happens, Jasmine, when you're away and I have to do the feedback myself. We're a small operation here at McKnight Tonight, a family-run business. All right, Travis says, Rove had M&Ms on set. Rob, you need a bowl of snakes on the desk. Well, Travis, if I wasn't putting on enough weight already, I'd certainly, by the end of each week, I'd be putting on more and more if I did that. Anthony G says, great guests tonight. Thank you, Anthony. We did well tonight. Restoration Archive says, we need a new show. They need to renovate a house that you live in and aren't allowed out, that you have to cook award-winning meals and sing to win prizes. We can call it I'm a Master Big Brother on the blog. There is a bit of a lack of imagination when it comes to television shows in Australia at the moment. And I'm going to say, I don't know that. Will the Adrian Patelli one work? I need to think about that. My instinct was no, but he's very popular. People are intrigued by him, so it could work. Yeah, all right. But you've always got McKnight Tonight. Don't forget that. All right, over the page we go. And Own Your Own Crazy says, I couldn't do the block. I'd constantly be doing my block. I admire those who sign up. I just don't have the patience or the skills. Yeah, I know the feeling. Vicky says, I love the block. Can't wait for Sunday. Dylan says, genuinely love watching the block. Inspired me to build my own home. Glad to hear the nasty has been toned down. Then Dylan realises that it might clash with McKnight Tonight. He says, we'll be watching on catch-up after McKnight Tonight, of course. Well, we're on at 9, so you'd think it'd be finished after starting at 7:30, but you never know sometimes. Own Your Own Crazy says, I just thought of something. Olympic organisers could get block contestants to construct venues for use in 2030 Brisbane, film the results. I love that idea. Leo's Life Adventure says, I've met Scotty a few times when I used to cover the Logies red carpet. Really nice guy. He loves the block. He's a great host. Okay, I'll throw this one in, Travis. Where would you rank yourself on that presenter list, Rob? Travis, that's a bit naughty. And actually, Matthew also says, Rob's trying to work out his competition. Thanks, team. Always appreciate the love and support. Hey, that brings us to the end of another big week of McKnight Tonight. Thank you for your company, and thank you to the people that have been donating money. I saw another one pop up tonight while we've been on air. So thank you very much. We really do appreciate it. You can become a member on YouTube. You can buy me a coffee. I tell you what, we really appreciate it. One day, we would love to be able to sustain this as a revenue income where we could just do this 4 nights a week. Wouldn't it be great? It would just be fantastic. I have no idea what's going to be on the Bit Show next week, but I'm sure it'll be big. Until then, it's good night from McKnight. See you next week, team.
It's good night from McKnight Tonight.